Now, in this technical demonstration, we're going to be installing a Centrify connector, which, as you know, is the link between the Active Directory environment and the Centrify Identity platform. Now, in an earlier demonstration, we installed a Centrify connector using credentials. In this technical demonstration, we're going to install the Centrify connector using a registration code, which is much safer than using credentials, a username and password, for example. So for this particular demonstration, we're going to go over to registration codes, which is under settings, under network, and we're going to create a new registration code. We'll go ahead and call this one GreenSafe Connectors. Now, with the registration code properties, we can set an expiration date. We can also set the number of servers that can be registered using this registration code. So we're going to go ahead and do this. So we're going to specify a maximum. We're just going to say 5. And we'll go ahead and click Save. And now we have our registration code for connectors. Now, we're going to go ahead and retrieve this code because we're going to use it during the installation. So we'll go ahead and right-click on GreenSafe Connectors and select Retrieve Code. As you can see here, I have a code. We'll go ahead and copy it to the clipboard, and now we can go through the process of installing the connector software and registering it. So we'll go up here to Centrify Connectors, and we'll click Add Centrify Connector, and we'll download the connector software. We'll go ahead and extract the zip file. And we'll launch the installer. And once again, we'll just simply go through the wizard. We'll click Next and accept the terms of our license agreement. Click Next again. We're not making changes. Once again, we're simply installing a Centrify connector. And we'll click Install. And now that the installation is complete, we'll click Finish. And the Centrify connector configuration wizard will appear. We'll go ahead and click Next. Once again, we're going to use strong encryption protocols. We'll click Next. And we're not using a web proxy, so we'll click Next once again. Now, in this particular instance, we're going to go ahead and paste 2 pieces of information. The first is the registration code. So I'm simply going to select registration code, and we'll click Paste. Now I need the tenant URL. So we'll go back over to our browser, and I'll simply copy it from the browser. You can, of course, type it in, but for demonstration purposes, it's easier for me just to copy and paste it. And now that that's done, we'll click Next. And it will once again go through those connection tests, checking the certificate, the connectivity, web proxy, and time synchronization. Now, if you remember from the previous technical demonstration, we were prompted for Active Directory information. In this particular instance, we're not being prompted, but it's not because of the registration code. It's because this server is a standalone server and not connected to the Active Directory environment. So Centrify connectors can, in fact, be installed on standalone servers. We'll go ahead and complete the test, which were all successful, and we'll click Next. It will then go through the process of registering the connector. And now that the connector setup is complete, we'll click Finish. You'll notice we do have the connector configuration control panel, which once again we can make some adjustments to. Now, as you remember from the previous technical demonstration, we did have an option for Active Directory. Since this is a standalone server, those options are not available on this particular control panel. We'll go ahead and click Close, and we'll close the download window. And let's go ahead and give this a quick reload of rights. And now, as you can see, I now have 2 Centrify connectors. One that is connected to my Active Directory environment, as you can see here, AD proxy. The DevOps Win is a standalone server on a completely different network that does not have Active Directory proxy in place. Now, it is important to remember that you can install Centrify connectors using a registration code or credentials. And it doesn't matter whether you're installing that Centrify connector inside the Active Directory environment on a domain joined system or on a standalone system that is not connected to the domain.